Harmful Virtues, Purification, and Spiritualization. Revelations of Jesus Christ, from 1884 to 1950. Harmful virtues, transgressions, aberrations. Thus saith the Lord. Understand my teaching, so you will not make any more mistakes during your lifetime. For any offense you may cause your brethren, in word or in deed, will be to you an unforgettable reminder, clamoring relentlessly within your conscience. Again, I say to you, all of you are needed for the fulfillment of the divine plan, so that the great spiritual misery among mankind will come to an end. As long as egotism exists, suffering will continue to exist as well. Replace your indifference, your egotism, and your contempt with love and compassion, and you will see how quickly peace will come upon you. Seek to advance in this human life, but never allow yourselves to be dominated by excessive ambitions, for thereby you would lose your freedom and become enslaved by materialism. I forgive your faults, but I also correct them, so that you may rid your hearts of selfishness, for it is one of the weaknesses that drags your spirit down the most. I move you through your conscience, so that you may remember your duty to your brothers, and that you may sow compassion and forgiveness upon your path, as I taught you to do during the second era. Today, the power of the material body and the influence of the world have made you selfish. But the material body is not eternal, and neither is the world and its influence. I am the patient judge, whose justice reigns over life and time. You shall not judge those who deny me, for I will find you guiltier than even them. Did I ever lift my voice to judge my executioners? Did I not bless them with love and humility? If only you knew that many of those who were lost for a time in the world because of that fault are today purified in spirit. Seek not to expose the hidden feelings of your fellow men, for in each and every being exist secrets only I must know about. And still, should you uncover these things, you must consider them sacred, because they belong to your brother, and so do not publicize them. Do not tear away that veil, and instead make it even thicker. How often have I seen a man invade his brother's heart to uncover his moral and spiritual nakedness, only to take joy in it and then publicize it all. None of those who have profaned the intimacy of a fellow being in this manner should then be surprised if, along the way, someone strips and mocks them as well. They shall not say that it is the rod of justice that measures them, for it will be the rod of injustice with which they had measured their brothers. Respect others. Cover those whose secrets have been revealed with your mantle of compassion, and defend those who are weak when faced with the gossip of mankind. Not all who wander the streets and roads, explaining revelations, interpreting prophecies, or speaking of times past, are my envoys. Many, out of vanity, resentment, or some expected material gain, have taken up those teachings to offend and judge, to humiliate and injure, or even to kill. Rise up, humanity. Find the path. Find the meaning of life. Unite, people with people. Love one another. Oh, how thin is the wall that divides one home from another, but you live so far apart. Oh, how many conditions there are to be met to pass the borders between one people and another. And this is just between you humans. What about those dwelling in the other life? When you do not hide them behind the veil of your forgetfulness, you hide them behind the veil of your ignorance, a dense fog. Do you see those who only live to satisfy their measureless ambition, who trample the lives of their fellow men without considering the rights that I, their Creator, granted them? Do you see how their works speak only of envy, hatred, and greed? For them you must pray more than for the others who do not have such a great need for light. Forgive those men all the pain they cause, and help them to return to reason with your pure thoughts. Do not make the fog denser around them, for when the time comes for them to answer for their actions, so too will I call to answer those who, instead of praying for them, sent them only more darkness in the form of hostile thoughts. Remember what I told you in the law. Have no other gods before me. But many are the gods that human ambition has forged to adore, render tribute to, and even give their lives for. Understand this, my law has not expired, and without you realizing, it speaks to you incessantly through the conscience, and still men remain pagans and idolaters. They love their bodies, flatter its vanities, and concede to its weaknesses. They love the riches of the earth, to which they sacrifice their peace and their spiritual future. They offer worship to the flesh, going at times as far as degeneration, and even death in pursuit of pleasures. You may be sure that you have loved that which is of the world more than the Father. When have you sacrificed for me, loving and serving me through your fellow men? When have you sacrificed your sleep or risked your health to ease the sorrows that afflict your brothers? And when have you ever come to the brink of death for any of the noble ideals that my doctrine inspires? Realize that it is not I who you love most. Understand that for you, the worship of material life comes before venerating the life of the Spirit. That is why I have told you that you serve and worship other gods before the true one. You are so accustomed to sin that your lives have come to seem natural, normal, and legal to you. Yet nonetheless, it appears as though Sodom and Gomorrah, as well as Babylon and Rome, had spilled all their perversions and sins upon you. You live now in a time of confusion, in which you call good bad, in which you think you see light where there is only darkness, and in which you give priority to the superfluous rather than to the essential. And yet my compassion shall arrive on time, ready to save you and show you the luminous path to the truth, a path from which you had strayed. To triumph over all trials, do as the Master instructed you. Be vigilant and pray, till your eyes are always alert and you are not taken aback by temptation. Note that evil is subtle in its pursuit to tempt you, to make you fall, to overcome you, and take advantage of your weakness. Be perceptive, so that you may know when it is stalking you. Truly, I say to you, from this darkness will mankind emerge to the light. However, a slow transition it will be. What would become of men if they were to realize in an instant all the wrongdoing they have caused? Some would lose their minds, while others would put an end to their lives. The purification and spiritualization of humanity. You have forgotten the law, waiting for the forces of nature to remind you of my justice. Hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, droughts, inundations, all of these are voices that awaken and speak to you of my justice. What other fruit besides discord and materialism could humanity offer me during this time? Neither are those who have listened to my teaching for years able to offer me a pleasing harvest. Do you not hear the voices of justice? Do you not behold the forces of nature haunting region after region? Do you believe that, if you lived a virtuous life, there would be a need for my justice to be felt in such a manner? Truly, I say to you, there would be no reason to purify you if I had found you already cleansed. Even when, in the present, it appears impossible to cement peace among humanity, I tell you that there will be peace, and more still, for men will practice spiritualization. The world will suffer many calamities before that time comes, but those sufferings will be for the good of humanity, in the material as well as the spiritual. It shall be a this far and no further, as concerns the rampant current of wicked deeds, selfishness, and hedonism of man. And so balance shall be restored, for the forces of evil cannot prevail over the forces of good. This purification appears as punishment, without really being so, for it always befalls the most fragile and beloved things. But in truth, it is the means by which the spirits who have lost their way will be saved. He who judges in earthly terms will find nothing of use in the pain. But he who bears within him a spirit that lives eternally gains, from that same pain, light, experience, fortitude, and regeneration. If you think spiritually, how could you believe that pain is a bane upon humanity, if it comes from a God who is entirely love? Time passes, and a moment will come when the great trials begin to appear, and the last bit of peace will disappear from the world, not to return until humanity has found the path of my law, and hears within itself the voice that incessantly says, God lives, God dwells within you. Recognize Him, feel Him, reconcile with Him. That is when the way you lead your life will change. Selfishness will disappear, and every person will make themselves useful to others. Men will be inspired by my justice to make new laws and govern the peoples with love. In the material world, you will likewise experience this transformation. The rivers will be rich in water, the barren fields will be fertile, the forces of nature will return to their usual paths, for harmony will reign between man and God, between man and the divine works, between man and the laws dictated by the Creator of life. Do not fear, beloved witnesses. I tell you that this materialistic humanity, which for so long has believed in only what it could touch, see, and understand through their limited understanding and could be proven by its science, shall become spiritual, and they will know how to look upon me and seek the truth with their spiritual gaze. If you were spiritually prepared, in infinity you could behold multitudes of spiritual beings who would resemble an immense white cloud. And when the messengers and envoys set out from it, you would see them approaching as flashes of light. Your spiritual vision is still lacking, and that is why I must speak to you about the hereafter, about all that which you cannot contemplate yet. But I tell you that the time will come when all of you will be seers, and you will rejoice before that marvelous existence that you feel distant from these days, but in reality oscillates near you. It surrounds and illuminates you. It inspires you and knocks incessantly at your doors. Sensitivity, presentiment, revelation, prophecy, inspiration, spiritual vision, healing, the word within. All these things and other additional gifts will pour out from the Spirit, and through them will men confirm that a new era has dawned upon humanity. Today you doubt the existence of those gifts, because there are some who hide them from the world, fearing its judgment. Tomorrow it shall be the most natural and beautiful thing to possess them. I come to you during this third era, because you are ill in body and spirit. The one who is healthy has no need of the doctor, nor do the righteous require purification. Today there is still need of ministers, judges, and teachers. But once your spiritual and moral conditions have been elevated, you will no longer need those crutches, nor those voices. In every man there shall dwell a judge, a guide, a teacher, and an altar.